off day. How did the guys come back today, and what was the focus?
I think they came back very focused. We scrimmaged the other day, so them being able to break down the film, understand the things that we have to continue to execute on, both offensively and defensively. I think they're just doing such a great job of using their voices amongst each other. We talked about the other day it being about accountability and communication, and they did more of that today.
How do you split your work in a practice like this today? Is it more film? Is it more kind of reacting what you saw on film and correcting that? How do you kind of go about that?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. And with this group, because they've had so much chemistry together, just getting them to speak to each other more on what they feel is happening on the court. And that's what today was. They got in the film room, communicated the things that they saw during the scrimmage the other day, and then they get on the court and we walk right through it. So I think it's a great way to do it is watch the film from what you've experienced, go back to it, as a group and talk about it, and then hit the floor and walk through those exact same scenarios. So you're getting basically 3 times going through it.
We've heard a lot about his communication, but how does Kenny just continue to fit into this group?
He does it in such subtle ways, being in the right spot. We do drills every day with recognizing spacing on the floor, and he's constantly talking to our wings, to Jet, to Corey, to Gary, to Tristan, about filling the corners. Why? Because it's so important to keep that corner filled, because it gives the other guys room to operate and play. So he does it by examples, but then has the individual conversations with guys about the importance of the why you do it.
How have you seen Paolo's leadership grow from your students now your career?
Paolo has been fantastic with his lead, his ability to communicate the things that he sees. And I've said this before, a lot of times with great players, they're not always great at communicating the things they see on the floor. He actually does a fantastic job of helping guys see where the spacing should be, where movement should be, why he thinks something, why he's making a move. He's done a tremendous job of explaining that throughout camp.
How's Wendell doing?
He's doing good. He was able to walk through a couple more things on the floor, but we're going to continue to monitor and make sure he keeps responding the right way to all the treatment that we're giving him.
You talked about the film review a little bit. What did you, looking at Paolo's first couple of games in preseason, what did you kind of take away from his performance?
I think there's been an unbelievable poise about him and the way that he's breaking the game down. I think it's slowing down for him a ton. Recognizing to put guys in different scenarios, not rushing to spots, not rushing to certain scenarios. So he's done a great job in that regard. And then it goes back to what I was saying about great players being able to see things and explain them. He's been able to do that in each one of the games and each one of the scrimmages that we've played in.
How did Contavious help sitting on the bench in Wednesday's game? I know you're trying to set out some of the veteran games, get some of the young guys to work on it. What did he do to kind of still be engaged during that game, even though he's not on the floor?
Well, if you watch during the game, we would stop the clip a couple times when we were doing the review a couple days ago from that game, and you just watch his reaction to great things that happened. There was an opportunity. We came down the floor. I think AB dribbled down the floor, threw it back to Caleb. Caleb threw it back. Cole dribbled down, penetrated, kicked it back out, swing, corner 3, and then you just see KCP jump up and celebrate that because he knows it's good basketball. And that's something that we got to continue to celebrate is when guys are playing good basketball, sharing it and moving it the right way. And he knows that right from his experience of being with championship teams.
How much do you trust him to know how to get himself ready? We're getting to the last week of preseason before this season starts. How much do you trust him to know what he needs to do to be ready for the 23rd?
Well, that comes back to the communication piece. He and I have had a great dialogue about the things that he needs to do and how he needs to be ready to go. And then he's working his way back. When to push, when not to push, because he's a worker. He hasn't made it this far because he has not worked. He's worked his tail off, being late, staying late in the gym, getting shots up, communicating with guys. So he and I have talked a ton about when to push, when to back off a little bit, give the young guys some reps, and that's what you saw a little bit in that San Antonio game.
It seems like whenever I look at Corey here in practice, he's always around the AB, yet some of the younger guys. How have you seen him kind of rub off on these guys?
He's been so tremendous for these young guys, and he constantly talks about his experiences over the years in the different places he's been, and watching the great players. He uses examples of Steph, he uses examples of Kawhi, those guys and how they worked. And every single time you watch him, like you said, he's out there pushing through different drills, how hard you have to go on a workout, how fast you got to get to spots. He's making it a game like for them, and he's showing it by example, which is exactly why he's been here.
What have you seen from Franz? He maybe wasn't as as big statistically in the preseason. What have you seen from Franz throughout training camp?
I think what he and Paulo are doing has been great, that they're just letting things come to them. They're allowing to see the game in a different light, knowing how they're going to see different coverages, different scenarios within the game. They're allowing this thing to slow down for them so they can recognize what to communicate and how they need to play, throughout the year.
Franz is in his fourth year, Paulo's entering his third year. Do they feel like veterans, that they know kind of the process through this year?
Yes, and it's been because of their communication to one another, the things that they've asked, the things that they're wanting to see, from this group and from our coaches, and it's exactly what we're providing, allowing them the platform to take ownership into our offense, into our defense, and how we're going to move, towards our goals this year.
Jalen's obviously stepping into a little bit newer role this year, playmaking-wise. Looking back at the first couple preseason games and reviewing the footage, how's the communication between you two been about how we perform?
I think we talked this morning a ton about being able to, as well, slow the game down, and he's talked about that, and being able to recognize certain scenarios and being able to set the table, set the table for these other guys, and keeping it simple. He's going to be a 40+ three-point% shooter. His ability to get guys involved throughout the flow of the game, he's doing a great job of recognizing that. And then you talk about his defense, what he's going to continue to be capable of doing, and he's stepping into his self and where he's supposed to be right now very well. Thank you, guys.
Yesterday, how did you feel you guys came back today, and what was the focus?
I thought we, first of all, I thought we had a good scrimmage the other day. And, focus was on just cleaning that up and a little bit film in smaller groups, so we talk a little bit more, everybody. And, I thought, just more of the basic stuff today, put in some in the game stuff, and just, I think, the next progression. Yeah.
What was your biggest takeaway from the scrimmage the other day?
Our biggest takeaway? I think the stuff we put in a little bit new on offense, helps us play free but still organized. And I think we're already a little bit further ahead than we were last year.
Heading in the offense with your first group, how has that offense transformed or changed?
I think it just helps, obviously, having more shooting out there and having someone that has played a lot of important games and knows defenses and can talk to different coverages and give us pointers, just so we're more organized out there.
When you look back at the first couple of preseason games last week, what do you kind of take away from those two?
Obviously had way too many turnovers. But I think in general, when you watch the game, I think you can see the idea that we have, and that's what I meant earlier with playing free but still structured. It's just the first two games. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of mistakes, but you can see our intention a little bit.
Where do you feel you're at? You've been through the preseason now three times before entering your fourth season. Do you feel like you know how to kind of get yourself ready for the regular season? How do you feel? Where do you feel you're at?
Yeah, every year is a little different, especially with different summer schedules and stuff. So, I think preseason is good for me to actually get in basketball shape. My main focus coming in was just to be healthy and be ready for a training camp. But as we ramp up, I think it's good for me.
Do you feel like coming off of last year that you have a little bit more of a leadership responsibility with this team that kind of helped them grow and develop?
Yeah, for sure. I think I had that last year already, and maybe wasn't fully ready for that. And but that's part of it. I think as a young player, I'm just super thankful that I get thrown into the cold water on that side a little bit, and can find myself in that role a little bit. And everybody has their own way of doing it, and I think I'm exploring that, and I definitely take that responsibility very serious.
What growth have you noticed from Anthony Black?
Oh man, he's been playing great. I think he's especially more with the ball as a point guard, directing guys. Obviously it helps knowing the game a little bit, having been in those situations last year already, and I'm just super impressed with his body. Obviously got stronger in the summer, and I think he's finding more ways to get in the paint and make plays from there, which is what we need.
You mentioned shooting earlier with KCP in the lineup, but to have Jett Howard in the lineup the other night, what was that like?
Yeah, it was awesome. I was happy for him, man. I think you can just tell people have been in the gym and have been working a lot this summer, and I think we'll have a competitive group. I think a lot of guys are ready to play and to compete and help the team, and I think that environment it's good for training camp and even good for the season too.
Like you said a couple days ago that you, Mo Franz, that you two and Mo went to dinner in San Antonio. First of all, where'd you go? And then second of all, kind of how have you seen him progress as just a rookie going through his career?
Yeah. I forgot what the spot was called. It was right by the hotel. Really nice, like French cuisine type of spot. And yeah, it was. Like I said, I met Tristan last summer for the first time, really. I never played against him or with him or anything like that, although we're the same age. So, I think for him, obviously, this is the stage to just kind of get used to everything. And, I think he's doing a great job of, just competing at practice and asking questions too and all of that. And, it's going to take time just to get used to it. It's a way different environment, and I think everybody's aware. And like I said, though, I think he, especially on the court, I think he knows how to play and won't need that many points on that end. Yeah.
You talked a little bit about your leadership. How do you feel like you've grown as a leader, and how would you describe yourself as a leader?
Yeah. Well, I'm more of the quiet guy, I would say. I think I'm a very logical, analytical person, so I think the on-court stuff and knowing what I see and what I think can help, I think that stuff comes more easily to me. I think for me it's more, how do I communicate that differently to different characters and finding the right spot too. I think I don't want to be a guy that's always the loudest and everybody's there all the time. I think people get tired of that. So just finding my own spots. I think sometimes the best thing is to talk to guys individually and ask what they're seeing too. And I would describe myself as a little bit more quiet and pick my spots type of guy.
Thanks, Franz.
Perfect. Thank you.